معرفة.
Bismillahir-Rahmanir-Rahim. Now let us discuss about gharar. What do we mean by gharar? Gharar is basically lack of knowledge, or uncertainty. So basically what it means is that lack of knowledge or uncertainty. Now what do we mean by this? Basically, in the modern context, for example, if there is a sale transaction entered into between two parties, but there are certain very vital things in the contract which are not clear. For example, if the pricing, if there is ambiguity with respect to pricing in a sale transaction. For example, if there is ambiguity with respect to delivery, the party who is purchasing is not sure when the asset purchase is going to be delivered, where it is going to be delivered. For example, there is ambiguity with reference to quantity. So if a sale transaction is being entered into, but the parties are not sure what exactly is the quantity of the assets which are being sold, so there is an uncertainty. If there is no clarity with reference to quality, for example, you are purchasing something but you are not sure what is the quality of the asset you are purchasing. So these are some of the reasons, or these are some of the areas, or these are some of the issues, or these are some of the concepts, okay, if they are prevalent in a sale transaction, or if they are prevalent in any transaction, that transaction is not acceptable from Sharia point of view because there is uncertainty. So for a transaction to be considered as Sharia compliant, it has to be certain, it has to be clear. Both parties have to be aware what they are purchasing and what they are selling. There could be a lack of knowledge of all these things, maybe because of misrepresentation, maybe because of mistake, maybe because of fraud, or maybe because of duress. Anything could be a reason. But the point is that in a transaction, all the uncertainties at the most should be avoided, or at least the main crux of the transaction, the main essence of the transaction should be that both the parties should be clear what they are purchasing and what they are selling. And if there is an ambiguity, then that sale transaction or that transaction in itself is not considered Sharia compliant. So one of the important aspects which needs to be kept in mind in Islamic finance is that any Islamic finance transaction should be devoid of gharar, which is uncertainty, lack of knowledge. And only then it will be considered as a Sharia compliant transaction. Let us discuss about another important principle in Islamic finance, which is maisir. Maisir is nothing but gambling. Islam does not encourage gambling in any form. So if there is any element of gambling, which is a zero-sum game, where only one party benefits and the other party loses, in such a situation, that kind of a transaction is considered void. To take an example, the business of lottery. So if a person is running the business of lottery where he is selling lotteries, so purchasing these lotteries or entering into a transaction of purchasing these lotteries is considered void, is considered is not encouraged, is not allowed in Islam. So in an Islamic finance, the contracts should be devoid of the element of gambling. Let us now discuss about the fifth principle, which was related to unlawful goods and services. So in Islamic finance, it becomes important that there should not be involvement, okay, in certain business categories, and these business categories, for example, could be related to, for example, alcohol. For example, it could be related to pornography. For example, related to production of weapons. For example, conventional financial services. Okay. For example, tobacco. So what we mean is that the finance in Islamic finance should not be involved in the production and distribution of any of these goods and commodities. Neither its production and distribution, but also assisting in the form of packaging, transporting, warehousing, marketing, any of these goods and services is not allowed in Islamic finance. So these are some of the categories of businesses in which Islamic finance does not allow any kind of investment or any kind of association.